An embarrassing loss, and when you look at a loss and you think about, and you're at home in your home stadium, and you talk about just defending your home turf, and it should never ever should we lose like that. And you have a football team that it's my fault that I didn't have them prepared and they were not focused, but it's not an indication of the type of team that we have. And I can remember I was standing there at pregame warm-up, and I said something to one of our coaches. I said, we're not ready to play. I want you to blow this whistle in about 1 second. I'm going to send them back in the locker room. And I did that one time at University of Louisville. I sent them back in the locker room because I knew our team wasn't ready to play. And I said to our football team, I said that, with this coaching staff, not last year, not being here, we look like we're taking this game more personal than you are. But it's just our leadership and just how much further we have to come with our leadership and get guys that need to lead this football team, and where the seniors need to take ownership. But as a coaching staff, we had to get our team ready to go play, and we weren't ready. And we end up, and that's what happens when you're not ready. You get embarrassed, you get humiliated, and it's tough. But we have to move on. We're getting ready to play an outstanding UCLA football team, UCLA. And you think about the quarterback; he's a Heisman candidate. But it's going to be a big task for us. And now it's just how we're going to bounce back from this loss.
Raise your hand if you have a question. We'll bring the mics around. Go ahead, Ed.
Thank you. Coach, what is the status of David Ash? We saw him on the sideline Saturday. Is there a determination about his ability to play?
Well, right now David is indefinitely out, and until the doctors, the doctor's going to make a decision. But Tyrone's our quarterback, and he's going to be our quarterback, and we're just going to go with him. Mm-hmm.
Coach, is there any clarity as of now about with the offensive line, with the tackles returning? Can you give us any insight about what your thoughts are on that and what the timeline is to get Desmond Harrison and Kennedy Estelle back?
No, there's no timeline, and the reason why those guys we have core values within our program, and they broke a core value, but there's no timeline on the amount of games and when they will be returning.
Coach, now that you've been able to watch film, how did that third quarter happen? What did you see on tape?
Well, Dennis, we come out of the third quarter and we kick the ball off and they drive it, and there's 2 third downs in it that we gave up, but it's third and short, and that's the thing we had to do. We had to win on second down, and we didn't win on second down. And then it's 13-0, and then we hit the quarterback and the ball comes fluttering out. We have a chance to intercept it and probably could have changed the game right there, and the ball's batted up and the receiver comes down with it, and then the quarterback goes in to score. But we just have to be better, and it was a game of discipline, and because who's ever responsible for the quarterback, we allowed him to take off a couple of times and hit the dive. But whenever you get your back against the wall, then you still have to continue to play, because if you play hard enough, then some good things could happen to you, because you never know if you create a fumble or interception or something. But you can't get down once you're down. When the points are on the board, you're 20 down or you're 26 down. Just continue to play, guys, because you never know what's going to happen.
In the middle, Brian.
Oh, either way. Charlie, what was your count after watching the film on missed tackles?
I'm not exactly for sure, but we missed more than the 10, and that's why you get beat the way you got beat. But I'm not exactly for sure the number, but it was a large amount.
Over on your right, Anwar.
Coach, I just want to follow up on Alex's question about the suspended players. Can you explain a little bit of that process that you went through as far as appealing to the school or trying to go to a committee as far as getting those guys reinstated?
Anwar, there's no committee, and there's no one I ever have to appeal to. When I make a decision to suspend someone, I make that decision. There's nobody I have to talk to. It's all, you know what, and I know usually I just tell the coaches what has happened, and then I make a decision on what we're going to do. But there's no committee at all involved.
Middle, Robert.
Coach, in a loss like that, what do you learn about your team, and how do you as a staff kind of regroup with them?
You know, when you look at a loss like that, and you can't let this beat us twice, and now players will listen after getting hammered the way we just got hammered. But it's when you look at your team, you got to say we're better than what we are, but how could this happen, and how could it happen like this at home? And sometimes, you know, I look at it, and then I told our players, I said, if we are only allotted 20 hours a week, and when you play a big game, you got to put the time in. And you yourself had to be willing to come over here during the day, study film, and it's all about the little details. It's about your preparation. It's about your focus. How much are you willing to sacrifice? Because with our limited amount of time now, you as a team and as an individual player, you need to study it, and because you can't get everything you really need from the meetings that we have. And so I told them, I said, how many of you guys really came by here last week and just looked at tape? Not many hands was risen yesterday. I said, just tell me who came by. Not many guys. Just give me a show of hands. Not many at all. But that's what it comes down to, just studying the game. Because if you really want to be a good team and be a really good football player, go study the game. But you don't just walk out there on game day and be prepared like we're just going to go beat a really good football team, because that wasn't going to happen, and it did not happen.
Charlie, first, can you give us an update on DJ and Josh Turner and their suspensions? And second, did you have any indication at all that Saturday could happen? I mean, was there anything leading into Saturday that gave you that impression other than right before kickoff?
No, nothing at all, because I would have thought that after last year, like I said, that we would have played a lot better than what we played. And I did, and I told our team, I said that we weren't even here last year as a staff, but we took it more personal than you guys did. And we weren't even here. And I said, here's a great example. Within the locker room, I put up different things. So last year, through the locker room, I put up 500 yards rushing, this total. And I said, anywhere else I would have been, some player would have ran through there and tore all that down and probably would have burned it in the locker room. I mean, it would have been a fire in the locker room. So they would have did something with it, because they would have just balled it up or just threw it right in the middle of the floor. But I said, it's like nobody did nothing. And I did it for a reason, just to see what we would do. See if somebody would just get pissed and if somebody put it up, and then the next day you go back down and put it up again. Somebody walk through there and tear it down again. But it's a process, and we just got to continue to build it. And with the Jay and Turner, a decision has not been made yet, so they still are where they are.
Go ahead, Brian.
Charlie, I don't want to belabor this point, but this needs to be addressed. There was a report out there that you personally, or it implied that you personally went to the dean of students and fought for Kennedy Estelle and Desmond Harrison ostensibly to remain in school, and that they were going to get a 6-game suspension. Is that even true?
Brian, the dean of students, I don't have to talk to the dean of students. I don't. I'm not trying to be funny here, but no, that did not happen. When I make a decision on to suspend guys within this program, I make that decision, and no one else but me.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Charlie, two things. On the suspended tackles, are they coming back Saturday?
They will not be back Saturday.
They will, okay. And as far as, the popular term is throwing team under the bus and everything, is that a dangerous message to send to your team so early, or do you just feel like it's a necessary message?
What message is that now?
Talking about how embarrassing it was and humiliating the team wasn't ready.
But no, it's not so. I told them that after the game, it's embarrassing and humiliating when you get beat at home. That's what embarrassing. You can't. I don't think I've ever been a part of it. And I'm not you throwing your team under the bus, and they heard it from me. And they done heard it from me for 2 or 3 days, and they'll continue to hear it from me. But you just don't walk out into your stadium with a home crowd and they get beat. And a lot of times when you're on the road, Kurt, things could happen. You catch a team and they get hot at their place, and the momentum swings and you can't get back, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get embarrassed on the road. But to come at home, when a team did embarrass you a year ago, so I mean, if you were a player, what would you do?
I tear the sign.
Charlie, can you talk about how simplified the offense was on Saturday, and how much, based on what you saw from Tyrone, how much can be expanded?
Well, it's going to be expanded, but when you walk into a game with starting for the first time, and you look at Tyrone and what we asked him to do, and the thing he did is he executed the offense, and he managed it very well. We thought we could run the ball better. We weren't able to run the ball and knock them out, knock people off the ball, but just each and every week it'll be something added for him, because now he's shown that we all were just wondering how it was going to go, and I think that it ended up going very well, and he played very well.
Mike, over here on the left.
Charlie, what was it about? Was there anything about the offense that you were disappointed in that you thought did worse than you expected, or was it all just because it was new to some of those guys?
Well, when you look at it, you had your center who was started, and your quarterback, and then the offensive line. We had to kind of just move that around and get those guys, because you end up taking Perk from guard and moving him outside. Then we end up starting Taylor. But it just with that offense going out there for the first time, because I would have just thought defensively we would have played better and we would have kept the game tight and just try to get us a score somewhere and then just keep it, because it's 6-0. You say, oh, thing, you come back second half, let's go get us a touchdown, get it to 7-6, and let the defense go out here and continue to play as hard as they're playing, and maybe we can walk out of here with us a win. But it didn't happen. So then when it's all started going bad, it wasn't so much the offense. I mean, it's all three phases, but defensively we could have played much better.
On the right, Anwar.
Coach, I just want to know, maybe, do you have any frustration level where, since day one you've tried to implement your core values in here, and you still have guys who are still, maybe not following what you want to do, like a Desmond Harrison gets off on a Monday and suspended on a Wednesday, and you try to institute toughness, with these guys, but you were disappointed with them before the game. Is there any frustration level that maybe some of these guys just aren't getting it?
Well, when you look at it, and you have 95% of your team, they're doing it the right way, and then you have 5%, and then you say to that 5%, why can't you do it? Why can't you do what Malcolm Brown does? Why can't you do what Jonathan Gray do? Why can't you buy in? And we will never become them. They're going to become us, and that's just the way it is. And you get frustrated because you look at a talented group of players that you have to suspend that could really be helping this football team, but who knows if they can be, because they can't do the little things we ask them to do.
On the left, Alex.
Coach, as far as, I hate to keep asking about the offensive tackles, but as far as they're concerned with their suspensions, is it a case where they broke a core value and now they're being punished for it, and that's why we don't have a timeline for the exact time, or is it they continue to break core values and you're monitoring that situation, and at the point when they stop, then they can come back?
No, they have stopped. They're not going to break another one, because they won't be here if they break another one. But the thing is that they won't be back, and until I let them know when they'll come back. But they're still part of the team, so it's not like they've been booted off the team. They're still part of the football team.
Do they get to practice at all?
They will. They have not, but they will join in with practice. I'm going to allow them to practice, but I haven't decided what day that's going to be yet.
Charlie, what's your level of concern with the kicking game, and do you plan to make any changes there?
Well, very concerned. We go out and you miss the field. The opening game, we miss the field goal. Then we go down there, one shot that we have, we end up missing it. But the thing about it with Rose, he's good enough to make them, and it's all a confident factor with him. And then just the punting, we just got to do a better job. We punt the ball well. We just got to do a better job of covering. But the kicking game, you look at the kickoff return, we had too many penalties, and that really hurt us. And you look at the drives for our offense, I think our average starting field position was around the 14-yard line, and some of it was because of just the return. We're getting a penalty or whatever it may be. But we have to do a better job. We have to be better in the kicking game. And that just, when you talk about all three phases, that's where we have to. Because you can generate points, and that's what we're not getting. And field position kills us. Nick is still a field goal kicker.
Charlie, this team's been through a lot the last couple of years and hasn't always responded the right way. Do you have to be careful now how you handle them to make sure that they do respond the right way and that you don't start to lose them?
Well, I don't think you'll lose them, because it's the second game of the season, so there's no reason for us to lose them. But, when you've been through a lot and you're a group of seniors that's been through a lot, at some point you're like for one to just stand up and just say, hey, enough is enough. And let's get this team headed. We're not playing at the level we need to play at with the talent that we have. But you would think that someone would stand up and do it. But you're right, they've been through a lot. But that's the thing, when you've had setbacks and you had adversity, now can you dig yourself out of a ditch? And this team can. It just as a coaching staff, we're going to have to do a better job, and we're going to have to get it done ourselves. But we can get it done.
In the middle center.
Charlie, do you think that the coaching staff was more embarrassed by the loss than the players? And is that a huge concern for you moving forward?
Well, it's a combination of both, Cedric. We all should be embarrassed. I mean, I just feel for this university that when you look at your football team, and it's kind of the face of the university for us to go out there and get embarrassed the way we did. It's, I'm really embarrassed. I mean, I tell you that right now. It's been tough these last few days just to see that happening, and there's no reason for it to ever happen. We're too good of a football team for that to happen, especially, like I keep saying, out here in this stadium.
On the left, Chuck.
You talked about the players having to respond and the posters up on the wall and everything, and you're hoping some senior stands up. Does that have to come, though, from within the locker room? And in other words, can the coaches only do so much in that regard? Does it have to almost be organic within the locker room?
But I tell our coaches all the time, Chuck, we're in meetings to talk about it, and you have to talk about leadership, because a lot of times with young people, no one really want to stand up and be a leader because they feel like they're going to hurt someone's feelings, and you won't hurt anyone's feelings because there's different ways to lead a football team. But it has to come from the coaches and the players. We still have to continue to talk about it, and the players are the ones who are going to have to respond. But it is, and that's what you're looking for, and you're hoping that you'll get is just that response and get someone to just stand up and say, hey, guys, we've been through this. And, I think about last year after that embarrassing loss and then come back and go beat Oklahoma. So it can be done. It's been done. So it is not like it can't be done.
On the right, Chip.
Charlie, obviously the defense was out on the field 11 minutes in the second quarter. Do you think about taking some of the starters off of special teams because they're having to play so much on the field, or what's your philosophy on that?
Well, Chip, when I look at special teams, it's a phase of the game, and you look at it defensively. If you're out on the field 11 minutes, get off the field. I mean, it's simple. It's third down. When third down comes, let's get off the football field. And I think about the starters on defense. I think Hicks is on the punt team. Jenkins is on the punt team, so there's two starters there. And then on the kickoff team, which we didn't kick it off that much, so they couldn't have gotten tired. So we only have a couple of starters there. So when I talk special teams, is so important. So I'm not looking to take those guys off. If the defense, if they have the ball for 11 minutes, there's a reason why, and we're not doing our part.
In the middle, Roger.
Coach, can you talk about UCLA and specifically Hunley, a quarterback, another big, strong runner?
Another strong runner for us, you're right, and Hunley. And the thing about it, I think he threw for 396 yards against Memphis the other night. They beat him by 7. But a really strong runner, a really good football player. And he has enough wide receivers around him now. It's the same thing that we played a lot of man on Saturday, where we just tried to just man up and just cover. And we did a pretty good job. They caught a few passes, but overall we were able to play some man coverage. And we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to mix it up with some zone and man, but just try to get him off balance. And making sure that if we blitz him, we have to go attack him, and we have to go blitz when we call a blitz. And guys got to hit their gaps and be gap sound, gap integrity, and then we didn't get that done the other night. But it's so much that it's mostly what we have to get done and what we had to get accomplished. And I look at teams, I know they're pretty good, but we ourselves, we got a lot to get corrected.
On your left, Mike.
Charlie, are any starting jobs open this week?
No, Mike. I don't know who I can fill in there right now. If I had some, you got any suggestions for me? I don't know who else I can use.
I'm ready.
You're
Charlie, what's the philosophy on not having guys who are lettermen in their pads like Nick Jordan during games?
In their pads, like a lot of those guys. Nick Jordan's been injured. That's why he wasn't suited up the other night. But most of the players that we're going to use and play with are going to they're going to suit up. You see a lot of the freshmen, and we haven't. We're making a decision whether we're going to redshirt them or not. Those are the ones that have their jerseys on.
On your left, Ryan.
Charlie, a fairly conservative game plan for Tyrone's first start. As he gets more seasoning, do you expect to take more chances downfield, open up the playbook a little more?
Well, Ryan, I don't know if it was just the way the game went. It wasn't so much because what Coach Watson did is he gave him the throws. We gave him the throws early, but then once you get down, I mean, you're playing there 6. The first half is 6-0. So why take chances when your defense is playing as well as it is? And then when you got back into the second the second half, the field was so short for our offense. You think about where they had the ball, the average starting field position for our offense in the second half was a 14-yard line. You know, one time we dropped back there to throw the ball, and the guy come loose, and luckily he broke the tackle. It would have been a safety. And then we get the ball backed up down on like the 1 foot line, and then they come through again. But I think that the field position dictates a lot on how much offense and what we can do and where we can release the ball down the field, which we will because we have guys who can get down the field. But all that is all just through the flow of the game.
On the right edge.
Coach, what does it mean for you to, you've coached in a lot of great places, but coaching a game at AT&T Stadium, Jerry Jones Stadium, what does it mean to you and the players to be in this big venue? And have you ever met or do you know your fellow Arkansas native, Jerry Jones?
Oh, yes, I know Jerry Jones. I've had a conversation with him. But you know what? I'm not looking at that venue. I'm just hoping I get that football team ready to go play. I know the venue's big, but I think I have more issues now to worry about more than that venue.
Thank you, Chris.
Charlie, UCLA struggled against a couple of subpar teams in Virginia and Memphis. What have you seen those teams do that you can try and do to take advantage of that?
Well, you know, they may have struggled, but they end up winning the game, so they find a way to win. They go to Virginia, beat Virginia, then they come home against Memphis. And so it's probably not an indication of how well they didn't play that well. So you study the film, you watch the film, we take the plays, and then we just have to game plan off of what we saw. So but we just got to, you know, it's more of us and our team and our defense getting ready to go play our whole football team, not only defense but offense and then the special teams.
In the front, Alex.
Coach, you mentioned earlier, you know, the difference between mixing in zone and some man coverage in the secondary. Can you talk first a little bit about? Is it true that, you know, what people say in the media and what analysts say about when you're facing a running quarterback, that it's not always good to be in man quite as often in coverage? And also, just another question that's unrelated is if you see Marcus Johnson as somebody whose role could pick up through the season of wide receiver?
Well, when you say is it true that you can't play man against a running quarterback? You can play man against a running quarterback because of what you're doing is you're taking away the throws on the wide receivers, and so you're not giving them the alleys to throw the ball. But if you load the box enough, you can play man coverage against a running quarterback. But Marcus Johnson, you know, it's all about where the ball. It's not so much we dictate where the ball is going to go, where we say, hey, throw the ball to Harris. It's just what the coverage and what the defense is going to give you, and then I think his role will pick up.
Middle, Brian.
Charlie, it would be very easy for any coach to allow all the suspended players back and, you know, after a tough loss or whatnot. The players are still getting to know you and the staff in some respects. How difficult or how easy is it for you right now, coming off a tough loss and going into a ranked opponent, to say, you know, I don't care. This is how I want the program to run. This is how we're going to function, win, lose, or draw.
But that's what I'm gonna do, Brian. So it's a process. So, but the thing about it, and if you watch, and a lot of times it happens in society and happens with kids, like raising your children. I mean, because you feel like you really need them, that you're gonna just all of a sudden not just jeopardize, or you feel like what's important to you that it's not that important because you feel like you need them bad enough to get something done. So what lesson are we teaching them? And so, but and you look at it too like this. Okay, even if you have the suspended players back, I mean, well, how much good are they going to help you? Will they do something in the game because now all of a sudden you let them back, that they feel like that you really need them? No, we have us a good football team, and we have what we need, and we have it more than enough, and what we have, we can get done with it, and then we will continue to get done with it.
Got time for two last ones on the left, Chuck.
In that same vein, how did you think the young offensive line responded? And is there anything more you can do to kind of jumpstart the running game going forward?
Oh, we can. We talked about that yesterday, Chuck, and we can do some different things on offense to get it jump-started. And because more than anything, just go cover up a guy and just get in the guy's way and hand the ball back there and let those guys. Because if you look at offenses now, a lot of them is zone blocking. So if you can just zone block a team and give a chance to just get in front of a guy and just lock up and hand the ball to the running back and see if he can just make a guy miss or just get through the seam and get to the second level, then you always have a chance.
Over here on the left, Kirk. Last question.
Charlie, you've been here 2 games now. Do you feel the honeymoon's already over?
Yeah, but the honeymoon, I don't even know if I ever had one. Did I ever have one? No, it's, you know, when you had a program with a lot of passion and a lot of pride and a lot of tradition, that's what you expect, and I'm never going to look at it any different. Whether we were 2-0 sitting here right now, we're not going to coach any different. We're going to continue on. It's a process, and we know this. It's going to take it a while, but the while is we have what we have, and we have enough to get it done. That's all about our players just locking in and focusing and the preparation. You know, when I made the point earlier, when I talked about guys just studying the film and guys studying the game, if you're going to be a great player, you have to study the game and you have to study film and you have to do the extra. You just can't come to meetings when we have meetings and then all of a sudden thinking, the hour, 45 minutes that we have you, that I can look at this tape and I'll be ready to go play on Saturday. That would never happen. You have to put in your time, and the players have to understand that. But if you want to be a good player, you're going to do that. If you want to have a good football team, that's what you're going to do. And that's why, as a coaching staff, it's our responsibility to get it done. I talk about accountability and responsibility all the time. It's on the coaches too. We're held accountable. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm just eating up inside because of that performance the other night, and it's hard for me to get over it. And I can't let one loss beat me twice, and I know at some point I have to get over it, but it's hard for me to get over it right now, just because I just know this. That's not an indication of how good this football team is or where this football team is at. We're a much better football team than what we showed out there the other night. But it's my fault, and I take the blame, and it doesn't bother me at all one bit. But that honeymoon, I don't know if it ever started. All right. Thank you.